Guys, just logged in now. Still get a couple of messages here. Uh, I am streaming. Yes. She's asking. Call her. All right. Um. Well. I have slightly changed the layout here for for the frame here. I just put a sand pattern and things. Okay, so looks to me like yeah, now he's the sole leader, right? Bishop b3 developed. Everyone needs to develop their pieces, including or especially the super grandmasters. And Krag's turn now. How do you get this guys in action? You gotta develop your pieces. Everyone has to do that. Options for the bishop. I mean, it looks simple for white. Getting that bishop out. How do you play? If you want to get the bishop, you gotta get this guy, or you're gonna play the queen and castle long. I'm asking for a friend. I'm not sure because the other guy they might be just moving the b4, b5 and things. Anyway. Let's see. Bishop b3, last move of Ian. Now we should be live running now onto 4 platforms. Alright guys. Let me verify this one. Yeah, should be fine on YouTube. We should be on Facebook as well. Yeah, we should end kick.com, or which was the kick.com, and the other one I've forgotten. There's always a 4th platform. Kick.com and another one. It was yeah, Twitch and kick.com. Yeah, cool. Right. Let me check again. Sound is in order. I think everything is nice and smooth. So Nepo would like to win this game very, very much. French defense exchange variation, because we took on d5 and they took, and this guy now is a happy bishop. Normally in the French, the bishop on c8 is not that happy because they hit their own pawn. So, you know, with the exchange variation, the bishop moves up. Okay, so let's see what's going to be next. How is the Prague planning to develop? Is he planning on a castle short or a castle long? If you castle long, you're going to do queen and then castles, but then b4 and b5 could be frustrating for them. If he wants to castle short, how do you maneuver things here? You're gonna drop this guy first, then get the knight, then get the bishop or something? And then castle short? Just asking. Seems to be a bit simpler for white. And okay, that's what he got himself into. Probably he is prepared. I hope we're not gonna get glitches like yesterday when we stayed like 20 minutes staring at the board and no one was moving a bloody piece. So I hope that actually we don't have that issue today. Knight c3, last move by Hikaru, playing Alireza. Alireza castled. And again, I think Hikaru would like very much to win. Hell, I think he's gonna, he'd like to just win the candidates. Okay. So, Blackstone to play. I guess that one doesn't really work. I mean, if you do this, I'm going to play 3, going to go back, going to take on b7. Is it poisonous? I don't know. Probably that's what he thinks too. Or would you do knight b4? Is it playable? I'm not sure. Probably it's too much of a stretch now. So probably you might be playing some bishop g4. I think that makes kind of sense. That makes sense, probably. Or something else to challenge white. White hasn't castled yet, so maybe you want to do some disruptions. I'm not sure exactly, but is this one working? b6? You give them a bunch of white squares. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but there's a move. It's a move. This one is a move. This one is a move. Well, definitely that's a move. Bishop g4 is a move, and probably prompts white to reply. Bishop e2 could be. Bishop e2, they take, you take. Okay, I think it's something to this. We'll see. We'll see what Alireza comes up with. So that's Hikaru Alireza now. And actually, let me look very quickly for the results here. Yeah, okay, so Nepomniachtchi is with 7 points. So they're really tight now to with Gukesh 6.5, Hikaru 6.5, Fabi 6, okay. 4 more rounds, but it's important what happens today very much, of course. Of course it's important. Of course it's important. Let's look here quickly. Abbasov white. Gukesh playing with the black pieces. Abbasov to play. Okay, what are your options are? Well, you've got a bishop g2 if you really want to go for this. You've got bishop d2, so that you might be preventing, you know, in case there is a knight here, you got no problem. This guy is no longer pinned, so maybe bishop d2. But I did say bishop g2, so I mean this or that. This or that. If this happens, or this happens, hell, I think you could just castle short now. There you go. There you go. As I said it, bang, he did play it. Takes on, obviously, you're going to take with b. Obviously. You're going to take with b. Bishop has to play then. Hey, that's interesting. I like this game. So, how do you develop the bishop on c1? Question is for pretty much everyone, starting with myself. How are you going to develop that bishop? What do you do with that bishop? The bishop on c1. Could you perhaps play it here? I guess you kind of can. Also, there is this idea, knight d4. I don't think that's bad. All in all, looks like white's doing good. I think white's doing good. They've castled. They could keep up with the development. It's very important to develop your stuff. Very important. Never, never neglect the piece's development before you're starting any other funky things. You've got to develop your stuff. Always. Oops, what the board disappeared. What are you doing? Okay, that's fine. So he pushes e4. Okay. Plays e4. e4 would be, if I understand correctly, sort of discouragement for a potential d7, d5. Maybe. And also, maybe he wanted to harass the knight. What is Gukesh doing with this knight h7 move? I mean, very, very genuine question. What exactly was the idea with knight h7? I mean, where are you going to get? Okay, it's not very clear. Feels like maybe unnecessary move or something, but anyway. I mean, weird. I mean, okay, if there was an e5, you would have played it then. Maybe you should have investigated some other stuff to do. Maybe castle, maybe d pawn, you know, maybe d6. But anyway, it is what it is. Feels like black suffers from lack of space. And what I mean by this is that what exactly where you're going to get this guy. Plus now it's still white's turn, so we might be seeing bishop f4, right? We might be seeing. Can you do this? Can you move that pawn one more time? Reason being, guys, if you move this guy again, Of course, you're sort of preventing knight, but the knight was there anyway. Or maybe bishop f4 first. Yeah, maybe bishop f4. Okay, I'm oscillating in between these two. E5 or bishop f4. Okay, let me throw another candidate move. Rook fd. I like that one because it's where the queen is. So I think I would appreciate having rook on d file. So ideally, I'm envisage the bishop f4, rook fd, rook ab. What else? Yeah, I think it's quite a nice setup for white. And yeah, you do have double pawns on the c file, that is for sure. So those double pawns on the c maybe are not the most attractive ever. But black hasn't castle. They still need to develop the c8 bishop. So yeah, let's see what happens. So these are the candidate moves that I'm seeing for Abbasov. We're going to see if I'm correct or not. I mean correct. If he goes for any of these lines that I've highlighted on the screen. And let's go now to the fourth game of this evening. We haven't looked at all. Fabi and Vidit. Fabi and Vidit. What is going on? Bishop b3 from c4 by Fabi, the last move, and now Vidit. Are you going to do something with this bishop? I'm like very, very, very much obsessed with the pieces development. This is something I can't do without. You gotta move those pieces, and I'm always asking myself, how am I getting all the minor pieces as quickly as possible in the game? It's very important. So if we want to do strong attacks and things, we have to develop our pieces. So what are you gonna do? What is he gonna do with this bishop here? I hope he's going to behave. He's not going to take on h3. You know? There was, I think, first or second round, he played Nakamura sort of like, what was it, a Berlin or something. He took on h3. Well, it's not the same. It's totally not the same. But I hope he will behave this time. You can't do this, right? Oop. This and this. That's something you got to pay attention, close attention to this. If he plays rook fe, he might be some knight g5 thrown by Fabi, looking at f7. Many, many, many points of attack here. Anyway, let's see what Vidit plays. Let's see what he plays. Can he do this? There's something brewing here. Probably he's calculating some lines in regards to the potential bishop takes h3. Maybe too early to play it as it is now. Maybe you need a little bit of reinforcement. So you got a bishop here, very dangerous. You've got two knights on the king side. The bishop looking this way. Probably he calculates exactly this idea. But I guess again, maybe you need to make another move with the knight on f6. Hello, Lambda. Good to see you. Well, it might be. But when you play a knight on a... Okay, so you play rook fe. Didn't I say it? Rook fea. That's exactly what I said. Question is if white's going to play this. Because you've got this. I mean... Yeah, the Broopy, exactly. I've said it a couple of times, brother. That's exactly what I've asked myself and my friends here on the stream. Exactly. I was asking if he's going to misbehave again with bishop takes h3. Exactly my thought. That's exactly. That's the big question, if he's going to take on h3 again. That was a Spanish Berlin. This is an Italian Gioco Piano. A little bit resembling, though. You never know. Now, the question is if Fabi would go for knight g5. By the way, if knight g5 happens now, how is black supposed to defend against f7? Or you just don't care? Because knight g5 not just attacks f7, but discourages any bishop h3, amongst others. So I think it's a good one. Knight g5, rook e7. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Okay. Then I don't know, maybe queen e2. You still need to figure out something with this guy here. I mean, you got to get the bishop somewhere, right? Bishop on c1, I'm not sure. It could be nice to make a pin, but you got to move the knight on d2. Probably knight d2 wants to go to f, then to g3. Thus, you're making space for bishop e3, perhaps. I'm talking about Fabi's perspective here. So knight d to f1 for knight g3, then some bishop e3 if things are in order. Also, knight g5 would be an idea. Direct attack immediately on f7. So that would be another stuff. I think Fabi can throw this one first. And then some knight f1 if I'm correct. We'll see. It's definitely something. Now, guys, let's look at Ian. Because Ian is actually, with 7 points, he's the sole leader of the tournament, fellas. And he's playing Prague. Come on. Bishop e2, yeah, we did. Hey, I did say queen d7 because I was just figuring out that actually black wants to castle long. Or do they? They want to castle long, right? They want to castle long. Bishop e2. We're going to see opposite side castling, guys. We might be seeing castle long, followed by castle short. Opposite side castling. Then we're going to see something like this happening, like b4, moving. Up, up, up. Maybe if you send this guy away, you might get yourself some knight e5 very nicely. Well, it could be many things, but anyway. Opposite side castling would be a hell of a game. I'd love to see it, guys. I would love to see it. Opposite side castling. What's not to like about it? Knight g6. Thus, the bishop on f8 is free to go. He may be castling long or maybe not. Maybe he's going to castle short, actually. But if I was white, I would play castle short. I'd like to play castle short. And we'll take it from there. Look, would you like to move the bishop again? The bishop had been moved on e2 initially. Would you like to move it now to... I mean, I think I would have played it on b5 right from the very start. But anyway, it's just bishop e2. So now I'd say let's just castle the king. Let's just castle the king. Castle the king. Probably black's going to do something with the bishop on f8. Like d6 or something. And probably they're going to castle short as well. And it's going to be very exciting. And, you know, could be queen d2. So now I'm just highlighting all the ideas I can think of. And they make sense to my understanding. So we could see queen d2. We could see castle short here. Bishop b5, I don't think so. Because the bishop has just been moved. You just can't move twice the same piece. I mean, it's ridiculous. Although I have to say, if you move bishop b5, it's good to do a pin. It's always good to do a pin. But anyway, 1 hour 53 for Ian. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. And 1 hour 33 for Prague here. Okay. Okay. Clean these glasses now. So, what is Ian going to play? What else is here? Can you do something ridiculous like H3? Nah, it just feels weird. I guess you can do many things here. You could do H3 if you want to. Given the fact they have a battery with the queen and the bishop, maybe it's not the wisest thing ever. So maybe queen d2. If you want to keep Prague in the fog, maybe you should go queen d2. Not saying exactly what you're gonna do with the king, and let's see what black plays. So queen d2, and I reckon bishop e7 or bishop d6, and then you're gonna have to decide the castle, and I guess castle should be very good for king side castle for white, and for black, I guess similarly. We'll find out in a bit. Alrighty. So, Ian, I see, takes his time before he decides what to play. So, I think should be moving to the next one. Hikaru Ali Reza. Hey, I did say B6. Who needs the engine? Who needs the engine if we're able to find the moves ourselves? Well, there is a little bit of a debate, that's for sure, but we do find it. We absolutely do find it. Hello, Simpson. How's it going? Yeah, thanks very much, brother. Cheers, mate. Okay. So, Alireza Castle, they play b6. Bishop e2 because white wants the castle, of course. But you need to address this stuff, though. I guess you need to address that one. So how are you going to do it? Could you perhaps take? Sort of like looks like you have to take, right? You kind of have to capture. You can't reinforce the body. I mean, you kind of can with this. But you're going to keep your knight there forever because black may not just want on c5 to keep you satisfied. I mean, nah, I don't like it. I don't like knight a4. I guess I would take on b6. And then I would probably castle. And then I'd probably play rook ac, having some pressure along this. And if you're really concerned about knight b4, so maybe take first. They do whatever they do, and then you play a3. Can I say this? Maybe you play a3 to prevent knight b4. And then, you know, you do exactly the stuff we said. Castle short, rook ac1. It looks like a very decent position. So I think that makes sense. I think it's good. But yeah, it's very good because we managed to actually anticipate quite a bunch of the moves that these guys play. That's just awesome. So let's go for Abbasov now and Gukesh here. So Gukesh is on 6.5. I think Nakamura is 6.5. And Ian Pomnishi is on 7 points. So the guys are really battling. Really battling. Everyone needs to win, so to speak. Would you perhaps, guys, go with the knight d6? Or would you take the bishop? I mean, the bishop is one dangerous guy here. But you could do also, you could get rid of the bishop, not just removing the bishop, that is, but you could play knight d6, which checks the king. And I think they will take kind of like forced. Is it? I guess. Because you're going to be attacking on b7 twice. So knight to d6 checks the king, bishop takes. And then I guess you take. And you're stopping the d pawn from going down or going up. You know, depends how you look at this. I think I sort of like it. Or could you perhaps explore knight takes c, b, c, and bishop a3? Well, that's another stuff. That's kind of like other idea. Yeah, I think knight d6. I love it. I like knight d6 maybe. Yeah, knight d6. Bishop takes. One takes. You know. That's good. That's good. That's good. If you do that, knight would be then able to develop on f6. So if you play knight d6, bishop takes, pawn takes, they're happy to play knight f6. So maybe you need to think a bit more. Maybe you have to play knight c5 after all. Knight takes c5, bc, and something like bishop a3. Let them think about how to defend. It's not your problem. Your problem is to press the attack. Your problem is to create more threats to your opponents and let them getting panicked and thinking about what to play. Your main concern should be to create as many threats as possible. Yeah, I think I would like to remove the bishop on c5. It's just one of those pieces I don't want to see them on the board. Yeah, I think I would take on c5. Hello, Bethany. Yeah, I would probably take. What's this? What? Okay, I'm gonna try relay the message. I'm gonna try relay the message if they answer. Okay. So, is there anybody home? Well, they don't answer, that's for sure. Hello, Akbar. My favorite opening. Well, I've got quite a few. I'm really enjoying, and I'm still exploring heavily the Sicilians, which is an incredibly vast territory. I also adore the Alekhine. Every now and then, I think it's spectacular. And why not the French? And you know, I love the Danish Gambit. I like the King's Gambit. I play a lot of the Gambit Alliance. I love the Budapest Gambit. I don't think I have one particular opening. I mean, I really do love the Gambit Alliance. Right, let's move for the other game, guys. So I would take on c5. I'd take on c5, I think. If you don't take, what else can you do? Let me just think. Is it incredibly painful? Bishop e3, bishop e3, bishop takes, f takes. Feels incredibly against all the tenets of chess to do this kind of stuff. You can't do this, right? You can't have double pawns on the c and on the e file. It feels incredibly non-chess. On the other hand, guys, let me just tell you something crazy. If you do bishop e3, let me just plead for my case a bit here. If I do bishop e3, and if black takes bishop e3, you know you don't have to take straight away. You're gonna go with the very sick move knight to d6, checking the king. That is something you don't mess with. King will have to move. Guess what? And guess what do you do next? You're gonna grab the bishop on b7, attacking the queen. So let me tell you something. Disregard all the other moves I said. Just focus on bishop e3. And you tell me if you very much honestly think that bishop e3 is an incredibly bad move. If you really think it's a bad move. Because I'm incredibly fascinated by the super outcome of bishop e3 played by white. I think bishop e3 is a hell of a move, and that will pose black a lot of trouble And on the other hand, can they afford not to take? Yes, Simpson, I think it's spectacular bishop e3. I mean, after they take your bishop again, Simpson, you mustn't take. You're going to go knight d6, and I think it's absolutely devastating. It's devastating, bishop e3. It looks sick, absolutely sick, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, again, it looks like goes against all the principle of chess, but frankly, it's such an aggressive move. Given the fact that black hadn't castled their king yet, Simpson, I mean, I think it's just perfect to play it now. So, we should forget about knight takes c5. We should forget about knight d6. We should go bishop e3. I think it also has a huge psychological impact. If your opponent, or let's say you play bishop e3, if black castles, hell, I'm going to take the bishop with the knight. And when they take me back, I'm going to take bishop e3. I'm going to plant my guy on d6. Going to stay there forever. It's going to stay there forever. So whatever, I'm incredibly happy to do bishop e3. I'm really super curious if that would be considered by Nijat Abbasov. Because sure as hell, if I had this one over the board or online, and if I had played at this time control, I would definitely, I think, I'd just do it. Hey, why not? It's really strong. It's really strong, bishop e3. Seriously strong. So Abbasov has like 1 hour 17 minutes and Gukesh 1 hour 57. I mean, Gukesh played just blitz and Abbasov just wasted already 40 something minutes. Oh man. Yeah, I'm so curious, Simpson. I'm really curious about this. Because I think it's great. I really think it's really super stuff. Let's go for other game now. For the next game, when we're going to be coming back, we are going to return. Let's go to Ian and Prague here. What was last stuff they played? Hey, he can't control. Look, he can't control himself against the H move. He just can't, which will make it incredibly challenging, nice, and exciting. H pawn, boom. H pawn wants to go to H5, but not anymore because H5 that comes with a little tiny little weakness here. It might be a perfect outpost for now, not like forever. It might be a temporary outpost for either knight or bishop. The question is, would you play queen d2 first? I think it's very wise to play queen d2. Why? Hell, you may want to castle long. You may want to do a battery regardless. So you may want to do queen d2. Just make a battery. Just make a battery. And you'll take it from there. So queen d2. If they castle long, you're going to castle long. And just play the game. Just play it. It's what is. And maybe you're going to play bishop g5. You know. Also, if you do knight g5, just as a prospect, you see, if you do knight g5, there is a battery here attacking this guy twice. So that might be another stuff you may want to explore. That might be another idea. Simpson, is the sound okay at your end? So Ian, guys, has 7 points. He is the leader of the FIDE candidates 2024 round 12. So I would imagine he would love to pull a victory here. So I wouldn't expect anything less from Ian than a very beautiful fight this evening. He is going to do his best. Thank you for the confirmation, Simpson. Appreciate. So again, you either do queen d2 or you play knight g5 and see if you can grab some pawn in the process. I guess you don't castle short, right? I guess you don't castle short with white because there is bishop e7. You have to be careful about this. And if you play g3 or something, you're going to be weakening the light squares terribly. So I would say you don't wanna play castle short or stuff. Maybe castle long, or maybe don't castle at all. We'll find out. Let's go for the next game. That is Hikaru Alireza, the second game. Hey, we did say knight b4 ages ago. We didn't say it's gonna happen. Now you've got queen b3. If it's not queen b3, I don't know what to say. And if there is a5, it could be just a3. Send the knight away ASAP. I think that makes sense. So queen b3, a5, a3. If there is a4, attacking queen, you just go queen d1. That is if you don't have a choice, so be it. But now you gotta move the queen. So queen b3, right? You tell me if you think I'm wrong, guys, or if I'm missing something, please do relay the message. Just tell me, convey the message. So queen b3, right? Queen b3. Play queen b3. Knight has to play. Or they have to defend. There is something here that might be making you oscillating. If you do queen b3, so hold on a second, let's just make it all red. If you do queen b3, they take with b. They take your b, you take. True. But then they play this. Aligning the rook with your queen. So I'm afraid, you may actually moving queen away from the C. You're not going to go on B. So yeah, I think amongst others, that was the idea behind queen to D2. Queen to B3 could have been after pawns being traded on C. Could have been some rook hitting the queen and stuff. So that's quite something. So bishop F5 now, cutting off the light squares and more problematically announcing knight C2. Ooh, knight c2, check, and I've taken your rook. So, you gotta do rook ac now, immediately. Unless I'm missing other tactics. You guys tell me if you think I'm missing. But rook ac1 feels like the necessary move for white to play because you have to stop c2. How are you gonna stop knight c2? Well, you could castle, right? You could castle, but still knight c2 if they want to. Then we're going to play rook c. Okay, I think we're good like this. So either rook ac or castle short. You guys tell me which one is your favorite here. If you were Hikaru Nakamura with 6.5, what would you go for? Would you go for castle short or rook c1? Simpson, you would do rook c? You will do rook ac? I'm actually considering castle short. Because after knight c2, I can just go rook c, and they have to go back, and then I'm going to kick them away with a3. And then if I, given a chance, I might be exploring also knight to h4. Yeah, rook ac makes a lot of sense. I did say it. I think that was the first move I've noticed as being sort of necessary, but maybe it's not that necessary. Maybe you could go castle short. Maybe castle short first. But you know something? My feeling, my gut tells me that it might be the first line and the other one the second line of the engine. So I don't think it's a huge, big difference in between the two moves as evaluation. I guess both castle short and rook ac1 would be very playable. Yeah, I guess. I think I would castle here, actually, Simpson. I think I'll just castle. I want to castle. We're getting into too many complications, and I've got a principle. I think that if you have an opportunity to castle and to solve another problem, namely the possible fork with knight c2, you better castle that king when you can. Castle the king whilst you can. Because later on it's getting really messy, like they always do get messy, and your king is not castled, and you are going to regret it. You know? Again, rook ac, I think it's perfectly fine still, but I would say maybe wiser for human psychology would be castle the king now, then do rook ac, a3, knight h4, and whatever you think it's, most imperative. Rook ac1. There you go. There you go. Didn't we say this? Yeah, I've highlighted two main ideas. Personally, I was inclined to do castle short. But hey, yeah, it's just getting a bit messy, you see. I mean, not the end of the world, but slowly Ali Reza had castled the king, and now he goes for funny stuff. He goes for this guy. And if he goes for this guy, and if he takes it, you're going to take with a queen? Well, I'm not sure, because you're going to get checked and stuff. So, you see, a little complications. Little complications. I guess if knight takes, you're going to have to take with f. I would say bloody castle now in the 11th hour. Just castle now whilst you can. And if knight takes, you're going to take with f. And I think it's very playable still, nicely, beautifully. You just do your stuff. a3, kick that bloody knight away. Yeah, just castle. Just castle. The more you prolong and you don't castle, the more you're going to find yourself, entangled in all these crazy lines. And there is a rook that is eager to be playing on e-file and stuff. So why would you do this to yourself? Yeah, I guess you could explore some stuff, but then again, it's just too much. I mean, come on. I guess you could take. Maybe the subtlety is taken on b6 first, because if you castle, they take, you take, they take, you take, they take. I just. Can I say I so much don't like it? So take on b6. That comes at a cost, though, Simpson. When you take on b6, if you take on b6 now, black's going to take with the a pawn, and suddenly you discover they've got two hits on a2. So you see, complications. And you haven't castled the king. So I guess rather than rook ac, I think 0-0 would have been maybe more handleable from my perspective, That's how I look at it. With no engine, no nothing, that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And Gukesh Abbasov. Shockingly, 6 minutes after I've debated long and hard about playing bishop e3, Abbasov goes with h4. And I understand that is meant in principle to stopping, amongst others, to stopping knight g5. I understand. But boy, oh boy, bishop e3 is just that kind of stuff. Because after you do h4, black just castles, right? And now, Simpson, I'm going to do something unorthodox. I'm going to inquire with a stockfish, and I really want to know if bishop e3 is actually the move that white was supposed to play now. rather than h4. Or at least I want to check if bishop e3 is such a disastrous move. I need to know this. I need the objective truth here. No, it's queen e2, says the Almighty. The Almighty says queen e2. Plus 0.34. Good. Hi there, CP99. But I really want to move now bishop e3 and see what the engine says about it. So plus 0.34 with queen e2. Blimey. Blimey. The engine says it's better than what they play. Well, okay. Let's just not get ahead. Was plus 0.34 with queen e2, the engine's move. My move was bishop e3 now. And the engine says it's there. The engine says, actually, black needs to withdraw the bishop to e7, which I would say, thank very much. I would say I've accomplished something important. I made the bloody bishop retreat from c5 to e7. And actually, if you look at the eval bar, it's going even higher. So my idea, bishop e3, it's a really good stuff and makes a lot of sense. You should have played bishop e3. Even better than the queen e2. Definitely h4 doesn't feel the most necessary move ever. Yeah, it's okay, but, you know. Bishop e3, I think, was the real deal. Bishop e3, if bishop takes, you play this knight e6. It's an absolute disaster. So we were correct, Simpson, about bishop e3. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you don't have to believe me. Look at the stockfish and have the confirmation. The engine didn't even say bishop e3. Probably if I put all the 5 lines at maximum depth, he's gonna come up with bishop e3. But I'm very happy I have found it actually. Okay, let's shut it off again now. Let's shut it off. That was a hell of a move. Very psychological, but not just psychological. Very efficient. Very efficient. This bishop e3 would have been very efficient. Anyway, this one has the quality of not allowing knight g5. And the poor black knight can bloody go either g5 or f6. That they will have to go via f8 and g6. And that comes at a cost. 1, 2 tempi to get the knight in the game. 3 tempi to get the king castle if that's what you want to do. That would be costly for black, medium long term. So I'm happy to having a few more friends here with us, guys. So let's go and see the other people. Where were we? We try to cover them all, fellas. We try to look at all of them. Hey, this is Vidit, and Vidit is super happy about this kind of misbehavior. He is really happy to do this kind of stuff. He is really happy. Something is brewing. What is Fabi actually cooking here? Because he got to do something in terms of defending, because these bishops are really concerning. I think I would look to take the rook off the board. I wonder if I should take maybe on d5. They may or may not take my rook though. So what exactly are you gonna play? Are you gonna play knight f3, but then they're gonna be taking maybe? That doesn't feel very okay. I don't know what to say here. So either taking or knight f3. What else can you do? Can you do f? No, you can't. Apologies. It's pinned. It's pinned, guys. Knight f3 or pawn takes, right? Or what do you play? Queen f3? I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like the fact that the bishop on c1 is not doing nothing. So this guy doesn't exist. And you need it now because black is attacking you with the bishop pair. And there is a rook here. So probably I'd go for some pawn takes pawn, hoping that the rooks come off the board. So maybe. It's difficult. It's really difficult. I don't like it. I don't like white here. I like more Vidit's position here. I don't know what to say. Queen f3 doesn't work because no. Queen f3 they take. No, it's bad. You have to take the pawn. Probably. Oh, that's just so ugly. So ugly for white. I don't know how you get out. I don't know how you solve this. And surprisingly now, Fabi is 1 hour 23 and Vidit 1 hour 32. Okay. Well, let Fabi work his mind now with finding the solution. Let's go to Prague. And Ian, because Ian is on 7 points. He want to win. So, what did we say? We didn't say knight d2. We said queen d2. We said knight g5. That's what we said primarily. He goes knight d2. Those always backward moves. Oh, yeah, of course. When I said knight g5, I did mention that actually the battery of the queen and bishop would threaten the pawn on h5. Now, when he does knight d2, he also reveals the battery with the queen and bishop. So now the question is for black. What do they do? And actually the answer that Prague gave was bishop g4. Bishop g4, so that he defends the h5 pawn. And the bishop is supported by the queen and by the pawn. So two attackers, two defenders. Good. Knight b3 by Ian. Okay. And that's what it is. Knight b3. Okay. Fine. Is black going to castle long? Maybe. Is black going to play bishop b7, bishop d6? Maybe. Maybe he will. So I'm giving 3 candidate moves here, ranging from castle long, bishop d6, bishop e7. I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else. And for white later on, still, you got to decide what you do with this guy. Do you do f3? If they do bishop d6, you can't do f3 because you're going to get checked. You may not like it very much. Although there's still defense, bishop f2, what can I say? Is getting funny. You probably kind of can. I'm not fully convinced. Anyway, for black, castle long, bishop e7, bishop d6 even better. Bishop d6 even better. Maybe you want to take advantage of the g3 square when white pushes f2 to f3. g3 is vacant. So you may want to do just bishop d6 is a bit more aggressive. Bishop e7 attacks this guy though. So yeah, think about it. Bishop e7, h4 is being attacked twice. Then I guess you have to play g3. Something. Prague's third. So Ian is gonna go for a win because he's got 7 points. He wanna win, including tonight. He really wanna win, and that makes sense. Okay, plenty of time. 90 minutes something for Ian and almost 90 minutes for Prague. A lot of time. Another fascinating, exciting game. Hikaru with Alireza here. Blimey, he didn't move a damn thing. After knight g4, he didn't move. It's complicated because of what we said. Simpson, if you allow me, and my friends, if you allow me, I would go back to this moment in time because I was saying to my friends here that I would actually castle short here. I would castle short, and if there is any knight c2, then I would move rook c1. I want to check and make sure that actually castle short is the move. Is at least a good one. Rook c1 is the move that the engine says plus 0.38. We're gonna check Abhijit knight d5. Let me actually check castles and see how bad that is. Plus 0.38 previously, right? Okay. So let's see now. That's not that bad. Ah, for Christ's sake, look at the engine. It's not bad at all. It makes all the sense in the world. Castle short, not a bad move. It's good. It's actually better. It's actually better than Rook C1. Because your king is safe. And because if there is any knight C2, you're going to move the knight. And anyway, the bishop on E3 was further attacked by knight G4 anyway. And in knight C2, you're going to move your rook then. You know. So it is very playable. The stuff that we said with castles was very playable. And I think, personally, given the human psychology, I would have played it because I want to secure the king. It's very important not to neglect the king's safety, in my opinion, Abhijit. And I think this is that moment. You can't keep the king in the center forever. You can't do this, in my opinion. So you're suggesting knight d5? What? You're talking about knight e5. It's too adventurous all of a sudden. Let's castle king first, and then we're going to go for whatever you want to play, in my opinion. I don't think it's bad. I think it's cool. It's really nice. It's cool. No, you can't. We can't do knight e5, mate. There is a knight c2, and we're getting cooked. You can't do. I don't think you can do this, Abhijit. I think you're gonna lose very quickly. So knight e5, when you're being executed with knight c2, you're gonna have to move the king. They're gonna take your rook. I don't know what you're playing. So I think knight e5 just loses, Abhijit. So you have two big options in my view: castles, which was my first favorite, and rook c, which was chosen by Hikaru. He did rook ac, but now comes with knight g4, and he plays bishop f4. So he didn't give them the bishop, but I guess here is going to be a pawn taken, takes, and takes, as Nakamura would have it. Didn't I tell you? Takes. And now the question is if takes, and bishop gets on c5, right? Maybe. There is a bit of pressure here with bishop and the potential rook on c. I guess if black plays bishop c5, I hope that prompts white to castle. You really can't delay that. If he delays it, I think I'm going to refuse to watch his game anymore. You can't do this. You have to castle that king, right? So bishop c5 and you castle, and I think it's playable. Anything may happen. It doesn't look you're going to win with white or black. I think it's fairly equalish. Anyway. For Alireza, could be bishop c5, just highlighting for black. It could be bishop c5, could be rook fe, given the fact that what did he play? Bishop c5, there you go. Of course, bishop c5. So guys, you tell me if castles is not required now. If you think it's something else, I really want to know. If you guys think it's another choice here for white, I would like to know. Because I seriously doubt there is anything better than castles. So just castle, and you're doing absolutely fine. It's good. It's nice. King is safe away from the e-file. Then you can try afterwards some h3, a3, push the knights away. Push the knights away. If knight f6, make a pin. Play this if you want. Attack the bishop. With the bishop, you attack on c7. It could be bishop d6. It could be. But then you're gonna take, and they take with the queen. Okay. What did they, yeah, there you go, castles. Of course, bloody hell, you can't just not do the castle. Okay, Hikaru is fine. Hikaru's fine. Hikaru's fine. 3-2-5, 3-3-6. Okay, I would be curious now to see. Look at the symmetry of the bishops and the knights. That's kind of like a symmetrical thing right there. The symmetry. So I think for Hikaru, he's gonna kick those knights away. He might be making a pin. He might be going for this guy with the discovered attack from the knight. I'm not sure. You can't do because there is this knight. So probably a3. So probably a3. But maybe you want to do it differently. Maybe you want to play this one first. You know, knight can't take because rook takes on c5. So could be. Could be. Both a3 and h3 I think are required to do at some point. Yeah, they'll open the door. So yeah, a3, h3 are both required. But it's black's turn, by the way. There is something about playing c6. The problem with c6 is that you can't play rook b8. Or maybe you will be able to play after bishop d6, that is. So you gotta sit down and calculate now. Or maybe you want to play now, moving away from the rook. And if they take, you're gonna take back with the queen. So that might be the case. That might be. So maybe black has to play bishop d6, but maybe you play bishop b6 though. You know, keep an eye on the f pawn. You never know when it might come in hand, and then maybe c5 or expanding in the center. It's getting interesting. So something like bishop b6 in order to play c5 and try to roll these guys, roll them down and something. Maybe. It's an idea. It's an idea. It just started. This is the middle game and there are so many stuff that may happen. So many things. Okay. Let's see Gukesh. Maybe too early to call the predictions. Maybe a bit too early. Because I'm not rooting for anyone in particular. I'm just looking for spectacular chess. I don't care who wins. They're going to be a big struggle and very nice battle here with Ian and Prague. Beautiful game. I think we're going to see a beautiful game. I'm not sure if going to be castle long. Probably going to do castle long, right? Or probably castle long. You can't do castle short because the black queen just gets itself way too close. I don't think gonna do this kind of stuff. It's just deadly. So probably we're gonna see castle long. I can't make predictions just yet. I can't make any predictions. Ian and Prague is still disputing now, and I can't see big weaknesses for neither white nor black. So let's look at this one here, Abbasov and Gukesh. Rook FD. Rook FD, Queen C7, Rook FD. I still wonder if, yeah, Rook FD. Rook FD wants to say, you probably want to do Knight D6. I'm sorry he didn't play Bishop E3 when he had the opportunity. Maybe it's still not too late though. Maybe it's not too late. Anyway, black's turn to do stuff. So I guess now you could just very well castle. I think you could castle. Would be wise to castle. You can't really take this guy because there's something funny coming after Bishop F4. So you can't touch that little poisonous guy on E5, not just yet. If Gukesh castles here, I'm not sure how you're getting the Black Knight to do something. You have to play the rook first somehow. So castles, rook would be here, move it to D. Then knight f8 and knight g6, double pressure on this guy perhaps. I'm not sure. Although maybe queen takes. No, you can't do this. No, it's impossible. You need to play maybe knight, but that will take like 5-6 tempi. It's crazy. Oh yeah, so Devansh, Gukesh is Gukesh is 6.5. Ian is 7. Icaro 6.5 and Fabiano is 6. The rest of the guys are lower than this. So I can't tell you. Yeah, I wouldn't adventure now into predictions because it's just not clear. So as I said, I'm not rooting for someone in particular. And I can't. I mean, what I know is that at least four guys really wanna win. You know, Ian wants to win this evening. Hikaru definitely wants to win. They're gonna put up a very tough fight. Gukesh wants to win as well. So these guys are all, incredibly invested into winning psychology. But what I noticed for Gukesh is that the knight on h7 is a little bit awkward position. It's not very clear how you're going to get the knight on h7 to do something. So you got to waste a few tempi. So what are you going to play? I assume you can't touch the g-pawn. That would be madness. That's complete madness. You can't do this. You can't do rook, right? Rook g8 and push. This is just completely mad, I would say. Mind you, though, Abbasov played rook fd because he wants to play knight d6. Very likely that's his intention. So how do you do this? Do you play king e7? I don't know. I don't like it in particular. So you either castle short, or what else do you do here? Do you take the knight because it's just too problematic? You trade your bishop for the knight? Then white's going to take back. I'm not sure what with. You take with the bishop, you take with the queen. I don't know. Probably you take with the bishop so you can have like a nice battery here. But I'm doubting that actually Gukesh wants to take the knight now. On the other hand, if you don't take it, you're going to run into knight d6. So what can I say? It's a bit of a challenge for Gukesh here. I guess the computer has the answer for everything, but as a human, if you look at it, probably you're getting a little bit concerned about the knights, your knight on h7 if you're having blacks, and you don't know if you should castle, if you should play king e7. It's just so many questions. If you take the knight, they attack the knight. If you take your knight, you're going to take with the bishop. You're going to be attacking now on h7 twice. The knight has to go f8, and it's very bad. It doesn't look good. So we can discard bishop takes e4. It's not going to happen. f4, you mean f5, Devansh. You mean f5. I don't think that's good at all. It doesn't feel at the right one. We're going to take, and even if you take, the light squares are a disaster. So f5 played by black, I think it's very bad. Because of the ampersand, Devansh. So if Gukesh plays f5, I think it weakens the white squares terribly. Like really terribly. I guess you can. But I'm just feeling it psychologically looks like the black king is getting seriously naked, vulnerable on the light squares. I really don't know what to say about this. It's not very appealing. I don't even know what's appealing for black now. Honestly, I don't know what's the good stuff to do here. And probably neither Gukesh. He takes his time, as you can see. Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. I understand now. Yep. But probably, okay, queen takes, bishop f4. So what do you play? No, you can't take the pawn on e5. I guess you can't take it. You can't take it here. I guess there is this guy here that's devastating. Am I missing something? No, you can't take on e5, Devansh. Yeah, this guy is untouchable. This guy is untouchable. So let's move to Prague and Nakamura. Let's see Prague and Nakamura. Sorry, Ian and Prague. Apologies, Ian and Prague. Okay. So, hey, castle long. Yeah, we did say castle long. That's a very, very normal, very natural thing here. Queen to f5. Getting queen a bit more active. Getting the queen more active. What else is here? Knight to a4. I think I understand what you want to do. I think Ian wants to play one of the two knights on c5. That's for sure. That's what you want to play. And the plan would be if black captures, you are going to be replacing the knight with the other knight. And obviously, if, let's say, knight a to c5, b6 now working very well, because we're going to have massive problem with this, and you getting just simply checkmated. Into moves then, and then queen delivers checkmate here. You just did. So if knight a, b doesn't work, queen a6, king moves, checkmate. That was it. So the intention is knight a4 to c5. I think we can make this interpretation here. Yeah, so Devansh, I think you're talking about the Gukesh's position. Yeah, knight on h7 feels incredibly awkward in Gukesh's game. Absolutely, painfully awkward. As per this position here, definitely Ian wants to plant the knight on c5. That's where he want to go. And what's the reply here? I don't know. I don't know what's the reply. I guess you should take one of the two knights. Or maybe you don't. Can you create a counter attack or something? Can probably go b6 right away here to avoid king c5. Oh, you want to play it now. That comes at a cost, Devansh. You could do b6 to prevent knight c5. I get it. There are some subtleties here. You do b6. I'm considering even knight c5, even if you do b6. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Queen a6 check. Maybe queen a6 first. So b6, you're weakening the line squares, Devansh. When you push the b pawn now to stop knight c5, I understand what you're saying, but the light squares are very weak now. So I'm going to go with the check first. You're going to move the king, I don't know where. b8, d7, you say it. Then maybe sacking a knight? Check. You take. Check. Pawn takes. Nah, I think that doesn't work. You're definitely going to get checked on a6. Probably we don't sack the knight just yet. Probably we don't. Okay, so b6 might be necessary though, sort of. But then, yeah, you're going to get queen a6. It might be necessary. Queen a6, queen b5, attacking the knight. What do you get to the knight? So you play b6. You may have this as well. Devansh, so what do you do with the knight? Honest question. Honest question. After b6 to prevent knight ac5, how do you play the black knight? You're going to go back on b8? Okay. If you want to play that, sure. Difficult decisions here for Prague to take. B6 weakens, for sure. All the light squares are weakened. All of them. Implicitly weakening the Black Knight's defense. The Black Knight on C6 is very weak, very attackable. Difficult choices, very difficult choice. Ian pulled a very good move. Knight A4, at least psychologically, at a human level, I think it's very difficult for Black finding something reasonable. Well, he's on 1 hour. Ian 1 hour 25. Okay, we see, we see. Thanks for the inquiry. You guys have very good thoughts. Exactly. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the Knight Devanche. I'm not sure at all. Feels incredibly, incredibly weird placing the Knight on B8 right where it was from the very beginning. Yeah, it's just not attractive. So let's go now to the next one, guys. So that's Ian and Prague. That is cool. Let's go to Hikaru and Alireza. Hikaru is on 6.5. So I would imagine he really wants to win this one as well. Do you know what's interesting, guys? Last time we visited the game, and we did say castles because it makes a lot of sense. Alireza didn't move nothing. Like, he didn't move nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can only read on a screen 0-0, and that's it. Nothing else. He didn't play bishop d6. He didn't play bishop b6. He didn't do none of these. Looks like Prague. He's got like 1 hour, exactly like Prague. It's very similar to Prague's time. And Hikaru, you know, time-wise, is similar to Nepomniachtchi now. They've got 1 hour 25, and the other guys, the juniors, have like 1 hour. He didn't move nothing. I don't know. Probably bishop b6 or bishop d6. Bishop d6 to really counteract this guy. Is just too active, the bishop. Maybe bishop b6 if you want to maintain the pressure on the f2. Maybe. Difficult. It's difficult. You do this, it could be this, and if it's this, you've got this, knight b5, attacking queen. Knight's being attacked by the queen, so there's many things here. There's many things. And Hikaru can attack on so many points now. There's this, there is this, there is this. There's so many things to attack. So many things to attack for white. So I mean, black is having one extra pawn, I get it. But look how much time he spent now thinking about what to do. So look, it's very costly. I guess if you inquire with the engine will tell you that black is doing a bit better now because they've got an extra pawn. But you have to maneuver with utmost care your pieces now. The knights, especially the knights, are very attackable. Both black knights are attackable by pawns or by discovered moves, so to speak. So you've got to tread very carefully. Very carefully now. Oh. Yeah? Hikaru better? Uh-huh. I guess because of the... Yeah, it's just a little bit of an edge for white because positionally, Devanche, positionally, white is more optimistic. You're doing a lot of initiative. You're attacking the knights. You have discovered threats. So you do more attacking. So from this point of view, maybe the engine gives plus 0.4 from a positional point of view. Yeah, even if black is boasting 6 black pawns and white only 5, but those guys are very shaky. Those knights are really, really attackable. So, and look at the time. He really takes his time here. Difficult stuff for Alireza. So let's see what Gukesh did and the other guy. Did they play something? Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Rook d1 and Gukesh didn't move nothing. I hope we don't have a glitch like yesterday, guys, in which we stared at the board for 20 minutes, half an hour. I hope we get no glitch today. It's weird that Gukesh didn't move for some time now. And neither Prague nor the other guy, no Alireza. So that's what makes me say I hope it's not a I hope it's not a problem with the computers. Let me check the other guys. Nope, and no glitch, fellas. It's okay. So Black had played Devansh. Black played Knight f8. Knight f8. Because after Knight a4 c5, he wants to play Knight d7. And he wants to take the steam off. He wants to water down the attack. So Knight e7. And you take, and Rook takes, and well, or Queen or something. It doesn't matter, because if you then play Knight c5, Bishop's going to take you. So I guess that presents a great value in terms of defending. It was very critical. Oh, this is crazy, a6. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah. Knight f8 again. I think it's meant to play Knight d7 after white knights go c5, if that were to be the case. There is something funny about a6. If, let's just imagine, if Knight c5 and a6, I think white would be attracted by even sacking on a6. Takes and check. It's interesting. So a6 maybe not the most attractive one. But Knight f8 makes sense. Knight f8 because Knight d7. I guess that's the defense against Knight a4 c5. So that's the defense. Oh, Knight e6. Damn. Okay, Knight e6. Fine. Again, with the intent to trade the knights on c5. That's the intention here. That's the intention. So if you gotta get a knight, I'm gonna take it. He has to. It is too much pressure. He has to. Or maybe here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Ah, okay. Interesting. Knight a c5. Bishop takes. Knight b c5, then a6. Okay. All right, Knight a c5. Bishop captures. Knight a c5. a6. I'm happy to trade the bishop. I'm happy to trade the bishop. For sure. Then Knight e6. Going for more trades. Knight e6. Then I have to retreat on d3 or take the knight. So yeah, that's up for debate now. We're gonna see. Ian's turn. Let's see if he comes with the psychological move or he just goes Knight ac5. So let's find out what Ian wants to play. Knight c5, bishop takes, knight c5, a6. Okay, I think I'm happy having this with white. I love to take that bishop off, and it's okay. Probably equal. Probably equal. I don't see anything fundamentally advantageous, or I don't see any gap in something. It's very okay. It's very, very, very okay. for both colors. Not a big weakness for anyone. A6 would also... A6 actually wants to stop queen b5. So that's what A6 want to do. To my understanding, that's what they need to do, that A6. Okay. Let's go for Alireza here and Hikaru. What was the last stuff? Rook E8. Really? Rook E8. Huh. Oh man. Can we play just A3? And let black think whatever they want to do. Can we just play A3? If there's any nice C6, maybe we can have bishop B. You know. Or maybe we can play bishop B straight away. And let them play C6. And then I'm going to play bishop A4. I'm still going to push A3. And then you can't go on C6 because there is your own pawn over there. And then you're going to have to play knight A6 right on the rim. So that might be another little trick here. Bishop B5. Move the bishop away from the E. I attack the rook. Black would be probably interested to play C, I would imagine. I might be wrong, but I would imagine. To which you just drop bishop A4. I don't know what black plays next. But you might have a chance to do A3 and then knight has to go A6. So maybe. Or you want to hit A3 now. That might be something as well. Because if knight C6, you could do bishop B5. And a pin is a pin. A pin is a pin. Very important. So I suspect they might be doing bishop D7. If it's the case. With A3, bishop C5, bishop B5, and bishop D7 to break the pin. Maybe. Yeah, probably A3. Let me just highlight. A3 would be an idea. Bishop B5 would be an idea. Hell, it might be even knight B5, right? Because attacks the bishop on C5. And attacks C7. So bishop B5 might be another one. Really. Bishop B5 doesn't work. There is a knight on E2. I'm not fully convinced. So maybe A3 after all. Maybe A3. Yeah, I think I would go A3. Just for the sake of simplicity. And keeping things under control. Probably A3. Kick the knight away and see if you can make a pin or whatever. They have to go C6. They can't go here. They can't go here. Or maybe bishop B. Okay, one of these three. A3, bishop B5. A3, bishop B5. One of these. After A3, computer says knight C6 is a blunder. Well, I don't like it. For black, that is. And I love it for white. Yeah, of course. A3, I'm playing it because it forces black to get itself in a pin. Exactly, Devansh. That's the reason I'm suggesting A3 here. So A3, knight C6. And of course, oh, knight CB. Knight CB. Well, knight CB attacks the C7 like twice. And I'm attacking the bishop on C5. And then I guess you got to play bishop D6. And when you play that, I guess I could take it with the knight. Then I'm going to take with a pawn. And then I'm going to play bishop B5. There's a lot of complications here, but A3 is definitely my very first choice, as I said on a few occasions. If I had this over the board, I would play A3. I would definitely do it. Yeah, totally. Of course. But a3 must go. Yes, 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 yes. a3 must happen. I said it like 30 times already. I'm a great fan of doing a3. I said it like ages ago too, because that's the kind of move you want to do. And tough one for Ali Reza. Very tough one for Ali Reza. Not just defense Hikaru, but he got a incredibly strong counter attack. And hopefully he's gonna go with a3, because that's the stuff to do. And let's move now towards Gukesh. Let's see what these guys are doing. So he castle afterwards, right? We said it's not too many ideas. Hey, he took the knight. He took the knight. And he took with the bloody queen. Why didn't he take with a bishop? Why didn't he take with a bishop to attack the knight? Okay, this is so bloody weird. Why didn't he take with the bishop to force the knight on f8? That's my question. Why didn't he? Let's check if the engine agrees. I will take with the bishop. Queen e4. Is there a blunder, bishop e4? Is this a blunder, bishop takes e4? What's wrong with bishop takes e4? I really want to know. What's wrong with this? Where is this a blunder? There's no blunder. It's better. It's not bad at all. It makes a lot of sense. I was really wondering what the heck is wrong with bishop takes e4. There's nothing wrong. f5, we're gonna take. Okay, I get it. It's f5. I understand. Probably I'm gonna take en passant. You're gonna take with the knight. Okay, I'm gonna go back with this guy. Okay, okay, fine. I guess he did. Yeah, it's not a big difference. It's really not a big difference. I would have probably taken with the bishop knowing myself, but that's okay. So, queen takes c4, fine. Castles, okay. Bishop f4, okay. Now, that doesn't work because of this, and that's a big problem. So that looks good. If this were to happen, that's not going to happen. That is so not going to happen. There is no g5 happening anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I think, interestingly, white build up a more promising position, despite the fact they got double pawns on the c. The reason I'm saying white might be slightly better is because the black knight is incredibly bad position. You need to find quickly some ways to get the knight on f8 and back into business. So you would have to play first the rook. Black needs to play the rook somewhere. And then knight f8, and then get them via g6. It could be. So move the rook, make space for the knight, then knight comes into play. If you don't do that, if you don't play the rook, you're not going to have a knight anytime soon. There's no knight here. And let me tell you some other threats. What about bishop f1 and then bishop d3? I'm sorry, but maybe I can checkmate you. You see? So, although if you play bishop d3, sorry, if you play bishop f1, something tells me white's going to play immediately queen c6 or queen b7 because it's an act of desperation. You're going to get checkmated. This is serious. This is really serious. So if you drop bishop f1, black's going to respond with the queen straight offer. If they don't do that, I think they get in serious trouble. After bishop d3, I'm not sure how you're going to get out. Ideally, you may want to get the bishop and the queen, threatening h7 checkmate. How are you going to do that? I don't know. Thank you very much, Devansh. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, brother. And I'll see you next time. Totally. Tomorrow, I think they've got a rest day. So surely I'm going to see you guys. Maybe tomorrow we're going to do some friendlies. We're not going to do analysis. I mean, we're going to do some puzzles. We're going to do stuff like this. And thanks very much for your presence, man. Cheers. Cheers, mate. And see you soon. And have a restful night, my friend. Okay, so Gukesh has to figure out something. I would say my 2 cents just moving the black rook on f8. Just move the black rook because you want to get the knight a bit more active. Other than that, I can't find any other counterattack here. I don't know what black is supposed to do apart from moving rook from f to somewhere. I've highlighted either rook e8, rook d8. You gotta move that rook away. Unfortunately for Gukesh, he's gotta shuffle pieces on the back rank because he's suffering from lack of space. Lack of space and the inactivity of the knight is super painful. So that knight is very idle. And now let's go for the next guys. So we've seen this. We're looking at them all. Whoa, yeah, and rook d3. That is so cool. We're going to look at them in a sec. FIDE, and FIDE. Knight f3. Queen d7. c4, attacking the black knight. Knight goes back. And now it's FIDE's turn to move. I'd like to get a rook here. Right here. So I got to do something with this bishop first. Can I play bishop f4? And then I'm aiming to play rook d1. But there is a thing with this guy, though. So I think you need to look after the pawn. Can you do this? Which is virtually attacking queen and defending pawn. I guess you sort of can. Is there something wrong? Ah! No, that's fine. No, I think that's fine. I wonder if there is a blunder. You always have to double check if you blunder, if you get checkmated or if you're losing a piece. So knight e5, I think it's safe. It attacks the queen. It defends the pawn. So you may get another tempo. You play a move with tempo, they say in chess. And hopefully you're going to get a bishop next move after black queen moves somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere. There are options for black here. So, but I guess that gives white a tempo. Knight e5. Black queen has to go. And then you're going to get the bishop. And then luckily, hopefully, you're going to get a rook a to d. If that's not a blunder somewhere. Okay, cool. Looks good. I think it looks good. We'll see if FIDE plays it or not. What I did see that Nepo here. So last time happened this. Then it happened the very surprising. I was really thinking that you're going to play knight a4 to c5. But no. Ian goes rook d1, d3. And if you guys wonder, well, probably you know already, that the rook left is aimed in principle to go c3. I think Ian would be happy to sack a full bloody rook and give black double pawns and get the queen here. That's what I think Ian is planning, and that's what he wants. He wants to play rook c3. What do you think, guys? Rook c3. And if I may, so rook c3, I think it's a very valid idea. Rook c3, including the sacking and exchange on c6. Amongst others, we might have, believe it or not, probably you will believe it, we might have some very sneaky bishop f4. What does that mean? Well, that means if my rook is on c3 and then I'm having a chance for bishop to f4, I might take the bloody knight. And if you take it back, I may just very well grab your bishop in the process. I think black is completely toast here. Now, do not get me wrong, my friends. That's all right, Simpson. Sometimes we see, sometimes we do not. But it's easier, definitely, when we are just observers. When we just look at somebody else's games, boy, oh boy, we see so many nice stuff, don't we? Except when we play ourselves, when we're just missing all the good ideas. So, looks to me that rook c3 combined with bishop f4, it's quite something. It's definitely something. I would sacking the rook for the knight for sure. It's incredibly promising. So, and there is another little idea. Maybe bishop f4. Of course, rook c3, always good. But there is also rook f3. So I don't know. But they definitely work. Rook d3, I think, wants to go c3 primarily. But maybe could go rook f3. But I guess c3. You want to get it on c3. It's not going to work b5 and crazy stuff. This is just out of the question. So rook c3 combined with bishop f4, and I think it's a problem for black here. If white manages to get the pieces like this, I think it's a problem for black. Prague needs to come up with another plan now. So that's the beauty of chess. You have a plan that the other guy plays something, and all of a sudden, you need to contrive another plan. Looks like Ian is actually calling the shots here. Ian is having initiative. He's actually determining the lines of attack. Prague is kind of like defending now. He doesn't have a clear counterattack here. He doesn't counterattack nothing. He actually got a knight on the back rank. That guy needs another tempo to do something. And all of a sudden, if rook d3 to c3, I mean, you have to do something with the knight. You could definitely expect white to take on c6. You could absolutely expect that. Absolutely. It's super dangerous. And what a move, rook c3. Wow. That's just a little killing move there. Phew. Nice, really nice. Queen g4. Queen g4, guys, played by Prague. Queen to g4. I would decline the queen straight. I'm now considering perhaps queen d2 or queen e1. One of these two. I wouldn't trade the queens. Maybe it's worth exploring f3, giving the g3 pawn. Maybe. I'm not fully convinced. I wouldn't trade the queen, though. If you trade the queen, that's what Prague wants. That's what black wants now. So if white now trades the queens, black would say thank you very much, because this white queen is quite dangerous. So you may want to decline the queen exchange. So you may go queen d2, queen e1. Which one is better? I don't know. But I don't think you should be trading here. Refuse the trade. Maybe queen d2. Maybe queen e1. So that you defend g3 and can push the... Oh, actually, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can. Yeah. I think you can. You can very well do queen e. This. And if they take here, you've got this. Big problem. Big problem. So queen e1. Yeah, queen e1. But given the fact he's got 1 hour, 6 minutes, I think he's going to sit down and calculate a bit more in depth. But yeah, I would refuse to trade queens now. I wouldn't do it. Would you guys trade the queen? Really? Simpson, would you trade the queens? I wouldn't trade the queen. I absolutely wouldn't. No, I wouldn't trade any queen. Queen e1. Queen e1 and rook c3. Just go with the previous plan. Try to keep that plan alive. I think it's totally good stuff to do. Very interesting, very exciting, and challenging. Let's check who are the next ones. Hikaru with 6.5 points. What did Hikaru do here? What was it? Man, what is he playing? A3, yeah, A3, there you go. D4, that's a bluff. That might be a bluff. There has to be a bluff. Yes, Simpson. Absolutely the best chess on the planet, we would say. I agree. Best chess on the planet. This is, I think, a bit of a bluff, right? It's not serious. If you don't panic, you should be okay. So let's imagine we do not panic. So you have to play the knight on c3 somewhere. Well, why don't we just do knight b5 for a starter? And you deal with that. I mean, we could do knight b5 and let Alireza deal with this. Alireza, after knight b5, he needs to deal with rook pressurizing the bishop and c7 with the bishop combined. Deal with that. One. Secondly, or maybe firstly, knight b4 attacked by a3. So do what you can. Is there something wrong with knight b5? I think that's good. You definitely attack stuff here. This is no joking. It's a serious attacking move. I absolutely love it. Knight b5 is just great. I would try to give it an evaluation myself, and then I'm going to check with the stockfish. So let me just think for a second. I'd say we've got a plus. I'd say we've got a +0, especially after this move now, d4, which again, I don't think it's a... Yeah, yes, Simpson, totally knight b5. I agree wholeheartedly, knight b5, I guess. So I would say we've got a +0, +070, +070, +090, obviously for white, right now. And let's see if we are correct. Yeah, we're not very far, Simpson. We're not very far. I said +070, +090. Yeah, it's +0.52. Yeah, white is killing it here. It is very likely Simpson. Then Hikaru, I was about to say Nikaro, apologies. Hikaru Hakamura. So I was about to say that actually if Hikaru pulls victory here, well, I don't know what Nepomniachtchi is going to do with Prague. But if Hikaru wins here, he vies for the first place. I think he feels very emboldened. He'd go crazy to lose this game with white. You can't, I mean, you actually feel it physically. You breathe, you know that's actually very good for white. And not just you feel it, you kind of know it. You see, it feels incredibly attacking, very promising for white. Yeah, there is a little troublemaker here, but after knight b5, I think you're just doing awesome. If I am correct, of course. I guess that's it. Knight b5, Simpson, and I'm going to continue a bit more, and I guess Alireza will push d3. That's exactly what the young man is going to do. Knight b5 followed by this. That's what he's going to do. I'm telling you. So you need to have a plan for this. But let's imagine we do not panic. Can we play a very highly unorthodox bishop d1 afterwards? After all, Simpson, we still do have a lot of threat. Namely the bishop, namely the knight, and the c7. Knight b5 on the board, Simpson. High five. High five. Knight b5. That's exactly what it is. We did call it. That's exactly what's on the board now. And my 2 cents would be, what if Alireza actually is going to push d3? And I took it one step forward, and I said, after this stuff, perhaps bishop d1 is required. And you maintain again quite some pressure. But I guess if you don't do d3, you're getting really toast here with black. So pardon me, but I think that's the only card left for Alireza. I don't think you got anything else. Whatever you play, if it's not d3, you're gonna be very much executed. Because, I mean, what else do you do? This guy is hanging. Bishop is hanging. Knight is hanging. c7, big problem. How do you solve all these problems? How do you solve them? All of them. How? Now, given the fact that black has one extra pawn, this is the moment where you actually need to put it to good use, because you're just in deep trouble. So probably he's gonna push d3. That's very exciting. I love it. I absolutely love it. Totally. Okay, let's see what's going on. It didn't move yet. So, I guess this. Just to keep it nice and complicated. d3 and then maybe bishop d1. We'll see. So let's go to some other game. That's really exciting. Really exciting. Thank you very much for following my friend on Twitch. I've heard that noise, bing. So, cheers for following. So let's see these guys here. What do they do? Rook. Okay, he wants to double up on the d file. That's for sure. When you see a rook left, of course, provides a little bit of... Nah, they just want to play rook ad. Of course you want to play this. Knight f8, which, by the way, we did say all these moves, we did say them. We did say rook has to move, and he did play it exactly where we indicated. We indicated rook d8. It's not like you're having too many options anyway. Rook d2 to double up, and knight f8. We did say that, because knight wants to play here. And eventually get rid of this pesky bishop on f4. So that's exactly what it is. And now Abbasov has to figure out something. Oh, by the way, I think it's incredibly natural. You gotta push h. You have to push h5. There's no knight g6. you're further frustrating the black knight for even more. What do? You have to play h5. Simpson, what do you think about h5? And of course, the other friends of ours. Isn't h5 the natural stuff to do? I totally want to block this black knight. I don't want to let them play on g6. So I think h5 is highly required. And I don't know why, but white is actually doing a very good job of Basov here. Let me try throw an evaluation. And then I'm going to check with the engine. I would give it a plus because of the pieces activity, my friends. I know there is double pawn on the C file. Don't get me wrong. We've got double pawns on the C. Okay, I understand. But it's quite suffocating for black, the position here. And the white is enjoying the bishop pair. And after h5, I don't know. I really don't know what the black knight's going to do. Or how you're going to maneuver things around. Because very awkwardly, the queen is positioned with the black rook on b8 on the most unhappy diagonal ever. So I'm really not sure what you're doing. So I would give it a plus. Now, let me see. Plus 0. Plus 0. 40. Plus 0, 40. Plus 0, 60 for white. And now let's check. We're not very far. We're not very far. Plus 0, 22. Okay, I was maybe overly confident about white's chances. But that's not very bad either. It's good. It's good. We don't need an engine. It's fine. We can do it ourselves. Okay, I was a bit over-optimistic because psychologically as a human, I'm impressed by white's pieces position. So, okay, we definitely can do it ourselves. Yeah, there is an advantage for white, despite of the horrible pawn island on the C, and despite of the isolated pawn on A, and h5 on the board, ladies and gents. h5 on the board. There you go. h5. There is no black knight anytime soon doing nothing. A little bit suffering. That black knight is a bit sad. So that's an attempt now. This is an attempt from Gukesh to try get those rooks active, to try to desperately generate some counterattack, something. Let me tell you something funny. If you do, I'm just gonna say something for white. Let's just say rook AD. Okay. If they take, you have to be very careful, Simpson, because if you take back, they're gonna be bishop takes f2. You're gonna get checked, and your queen is goodbye. So keep this in mind just as a general idea. So that's not gonna be this way. If you play rook AD, which I think it's great in principle, if they would take, you can't take the pawn. You cannot take the pawn. Not now. You have to do something else. I would still... Okay, let me think. Yeah, let me tell you something. If you take the pawn now, if you take it now, I wonder if you're not helping this guy actually with rook b5. Maybe they want to double then, and then they want to simplify things. So maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I want to do rook AD. Well, that's a very critical moment in the game's evolution. I don't know. Maybe rook AD. I need to sit down and calculate a bit more. Maybe rook AD. If not, I don't know. Maybe king move? Because I want to take that guy back? Maybe king h2. And if pawn takes, then I can safely recapture on c4. And I think we're relatively good. Probably. I don't know what else to play. So I'll give it two main candidate moves. You either drop the pawn, but I don't think it's very wise. You play rook AD, which I think you can play it maybe later. That is one. Secondly, or maybe firstly, should I say, King H2. King H2, that allows the white queen to take back on C4. After B5 takes C4, you take back with a queen. So maybe King H2. So maybe King H2 or Rook AD1. Which one is it? Maybe one of these two again. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, if I was a Basov, I would definitely spend some time here. I mean, like extra minutes. You gotta think this one carefully. What a powerful tournament. What a spectacular chess by these guys. Alireza still thinking. All right, what's going on here? We haven't visited this game in a while because I was completely absorbed in the other games. So Queen E3, Rook D8. Wait a minute. Can't I just play Rook AD1? 336. Okay, that's a draw, fellas. That is a draw. That's a draw. Rook AD. Queen's got to move. Queen's got to move. Queen's going to go right on C7. Absolutely right on C7 because it needs to protect the rook on D8. Then rook's going to take. Queen's going to take. And then you could do, perhaps, you need to look after this guy. Maybe you could do Queen C5. No. Whoa. Rook D, Queen C7, Rook takes, Queen C5. Yeah, Queen C5. Queen C5 defends A5, attacks the knight, defends C4, and maybe I can throw a knight G5 given a chance at some point. I think that might be an idea. One possible sequence. I love to take the D file. You have to take the D. You have to claim the D file. If it's an in-between move, it could be knight E5. An in-between move, or you play knight G5 now, frustrating the bishop a bit. Maybe you give them isolated pawn. Maybe you play knight G5 now. Maybe you play knight G5 now with the idea of knight takes E6. And if queen takes, you're going to take again, pawn takes. Hell, an isolated pawn. I'm always ready to give my opponent isolated pawns. So you see, you have to calculate. Do you want to do rook AD with the sequence we said? Queen C7, rook takes, Queen C5. Are you happy with that? Or are you happy with knight G5?